Hades 2, the roguelike action RPG released into early access yesterday, and it is as beautiful, fun, and challenging as the first game. So today I want to go over some tips and tricks for new players and some things I wish I knew when I first started. If you've played the first Hades game, some of these you might already know, but there are lots of new mechanics and system introduced that are unique to Hades 2. So let's get into it. First up, let's talk about incantations. These are your main ways to progress the game. You unlock the new systems, the shops, and areas all from this big cauldron in the middle of town. You can also unlock things that make you stronger, certain buffs, and things that add into your runs that make the game progress further. So here's some tips to progress faster or easier. So first up, one thing I would suggest doing is unlocking the Forget-Me-Not as soon as you can. This says it creates reminders for certain tasks. So there'll be certain things on here that require different regents or resources that you might not have. It's really cheap to unlock and just helps you stay on target knowing what you need to get. One of the most useful things with this is when you go to pick your gathering tool, so you can only take one gathering tool per run, and then when you die and restart, you can take a different one. It will highlight the gathering tool it recommends based on what you need. So if you need loads of silver or loads of ore, it will recommend you take the pickaxe, and same if you need plants, it will recommend you take the shovel to get some seeds. So it's really good to get this early, pin all of the tasks as soon as you can, and you'll just be able to hunt down the things you need faster and progress faster. Another thing you can do is you can buy items from the shop once you unlock it to help you complete certain tasks. You'll notice for certain things early on need fabric, and these can be bought from the vendor really easily and really cheap. Another thing you need to do for tasks is to farm. So again, once you unlock the 2 farming plots at the start of the game, you should start planting any seeds you have and wait for them to grow and dig them up because you'll be able to hand these in. Okay, so similar to the first game, we have a keepsake system. You'll start to find nectar early in the game during your runs, or you can buy this from the vendor once you unlock it for bones. And these nectars can be traded into most characters in the game, and in return, the first one you give them, they will give you a keepsake as in return. So everyone you see, I would try and give them 1 nectar to unlock their keepsake. Each keepsake is different and will give you a permanent different power. And when you go to your equipment and to change like the weapon and stuff, you can go to this chest here to change your keepsake. And each of the main buff giving characters, you know, Hermes, Aphrodite, Poseidon, you can give them a nectar when you collect their power. So say you find the Poseidon trident somewhere, you can hand the nectar in there and then get the keepsake from Poseidon. And the benefit of getting these buffs is that lets you build that build easier. So what it does is it makes that buff appear more, and it lets you improve the quality of those buffs when you find them. Now, if you don't want to lock into a certain build every run, there's some good ones that are just overall strong. So it's worth giving to the other people you find around town, the people that just are standing around. Give them a nectar and get their keepsake because everyone does a different thing. Some I like is if you go to Sharon, the shopkeeper guy. So if you see the bag icon mid-run, you can go and buy stuff with gold mid-run. If you go to him and give him a nectar, you'll get his golden purse, which lets you start with up to 150 gold when upgraded, which means as soon as you start the game, you have 150 gold, you can pretty much buy a buff straight out the door as soon as you find a shop. So that's really good. I also like the Lucky Tooth from Shemelius, the training dummy guy. So the guy next to where you pick the weapon, that lets you revive once per run. Really helpful early on when you're still learning the combat, you're still struggling with progression, and you don't have much health. Getting 1 free revive can let you just get past that boss that maybe you're stuck at. So the keepsakes are a great way to get stronger and help you progress. Another great way is the Arcana card. So let's talk about those. You can unlock new cards here and equip them, and you can hold as many as your grasp is on the right. So I think you start with 10, and then you can upgrade this to be able to hold more. Now, you want to upgrade this as much as possible. So try and farm up as much psych as you can during your runs, and keep upgrading this number here so you can hold more and more cards. There's no downsides to having more cards, so try and just increase your power level and hold all of them, really. But the real tip here is there are free cards hidden around. So it's worth it to unlock these cards, even if you can't hold them. As you know, if you are capped and you don't have any psyche and you already got all the cards you want, it's still worth unlocking the cards on the left, as they'll reveal new ones that might be free. So for example, the one here you can see in the middle, this number 13, this gives you max health and max mana every time you clear a room. And it's completely free to hold it as long as you hold a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 card. So, you know, there's certain tricks here to have more buffs and power that they might seem at first. That's a huge scaling buff as you play through every run. Okay, so let's talk about rune priority. So every run is new and randomized, and that's the roguelike experience. And if you're new to Hades or you're new to roguelikes in general, the longer you play the game, the more you will unlock items, systems, and buffs that make you stronger and help you progress further. So you shouldn't stress at the start about trying to beat the game or trying to beat every single boss. You should just be trying to make a bit more progress and get stronger after every run. my advice would be to start by focusing on resource collection in your early runs. Ashes, Psyche, Bones, that kind of stuff all goes towards permanent upgrades for your character between runs, rather than say gold or buffs, which when you die are lost. And then when it comes to powering up your character, the big juicy items that make you the strongest are the hammer. If you see this, I would go for it every single time. This gives you a huge upgrade to your weapon, so more range, more damage, or completely changing and improving how the skills work. So for example, on the hammer, you can turn it into a big massive AoE cone that takes out half the room. You could upgrade your daggers and get the backstab ability that gives them like double damage from behind. So there's some really good and powerful upgrades that'll let you go a lot further from this hammer. After the hammer, if you're still looking to get stronger, I would be looking for the different powers. So Zeus, Aphrodite, that kind of thing, as they make you stronger and they put statuses on your abilities and things like that. Then the Palm of Power will upgrade those abilities. That's a red fruit on the door, like a little red grapefruit, little red pomegranate, I don't know, the little fruit thing. This lets you upgrade those powers from say rank 1 and doing a certain amount of damage to rank 2, doing more damage. So yeah, that's all the different rooms. I'd say try and balance out your runs. If you're progressing well and you feel like you're having a good run, you know, you have a good start, you feel strong, and you feel like you can take out the boss that you're stuck on, go for strength, go for damage, go for all the different buffs, go for the hammer, and just try and knock out as far as you can and make some progress. If you feel like you're more hard locked and you can't get past a certain boss, or you feel like you're just having a bad run and you're not getting very good buffs, then just focus on resource collection. Make that a run where you're just trying to collect all the resources, and then you can upgrade when you get back and make yourself stronger. Okay, next let's talk about Grave Thirst. So early in the game, you will unlock a system called Grave Thirst, which empowers one weapon per run. These empowered weapons will give you purple bones just for using them. This is the currency for the vendor in town, and this is really useful. The vendor sells different currencies like the Psyche that we talked about for upgrading the Arcana. It unlocks Nectar for unlocking new Keepsakes, kind of bringing everything together, and it unlocks certain items for upgrading your Incantation. So everything can come from this vendor in small supply. So it's worth having as much of this Grave Thirst as possible. So it's saying it kind of encourages you to switch weapons between runs. You might really love the staff and want to use it every single time. And in the end game, say when you're pushing for, you know, the perfect build, that's useful. But when you're trying to farm, when you're trying to progress and unlock all these different things, I definitely recommend switching to the empowered weapon just to get as many resources as possible early on. But I think that's where we should end these like beginner tips, this beginner video, because these are just some things to help you on your first few days and to help prioritize some of the systems and get you some of the bigger buffs and progression early on. I don't want to share more of the harder stuff because I don't want to spoil it. There's systems and characters and places that you go to that are really fun, but yeah, I don't want to ruin it here if you've not even got the game or you've just got the game on day one. I don't want to ruin that for you because it's fun to experience it yourself, and by the time you get there, you should have a good grip of the game. If you want a more advanced guide or want some build videos, do let me know down below. But I'm going to wrap it up here, and if you have any other tips, let other people know in the comments, because this game is incredible. It's still in early access, which means it's only going to get better. I'm loving it so far, and I hope you are too. I'm going to wrap it up here. Subscribe for more. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.